Let's chat about England's win over the Wallabies now then. Goody, another win over the Wallabies, but how do you rate their performance?
Easy.
Yeah, 8 from 8. And let's be honest, I think the Wallabies will be pretty frustrated themselves. England are, like Eddie says, we've got some new players coming in a bit of a transition in terms of trying to actually change the way we play. And this weekend will be the litmus test for us in terms of where that's at, because you've got to play a different way to beat South Africa. And, you know, Marcus Smith at 10, I thought he played pretty well. I still think there's, you just got to let him lead everything at 10. So I still feel, and it'll be interesting this weekend because the news is that Owen Farrell's definitely out, and so he'll have full control. But it still felt like there was this leadership play, and I said it on the pod last week around let Marcus Smith run the attack, let him be the fulcrum, let him be the entertainer, the guy that drives everything, and that will get the best out of him because that's how he's been so successful at Quins. Whereas if Farrell was trying to control things, and you saw Farrell stepping up at first receiver a lot.
Yeah, I was going to ask that, Goody. Was I right in picking up that a lot of the time Marcus Smith was second receiver, and it was probably him who actually managed to get the width on the plays? Is that me, or was that a few times?
No, it did happen a few times, and the way a lot of it plays now is it often does go. You see some of the plays that end up going out the back. You go a 9-12, and then you've got a short line. The 10's out the back, and then you've got a couple of layers of attack outside that. Jim, you're just looking head down, pushing them all, mate. But I mean, there are some times when that's interchangeable, and you want the ball player, the better ball player, which is Marcus Smith, being that second guy. But it just seems sometimes that where Marcus Smith wants to go and dominate, and as he does for Quins, it just felt like it was not quite as fluid as it could be. And it's going to happen because you've got a new combination playing together. He's never played with Ben Youngs, apart from against Tonga last week. He's never played with Owen Farrell at 12. I can't wait for us this weekend to see, you know, you're bound to see Slade and Tuolangi back in the centres with, you know, Marcus Smith at 10, and you know you'll probably go Malins on one wing or Radwan on one wing, Johnny May on the other. I'm probably going to say Malins will start on the wing because the aerial threat's coming. But you know, look at the ball he put Freddie Stewart through for the first try. I mean, my God, what a finish that was from Freddie Stewart as well.
What sort of tactics do you think they're going to change for this weekend?
I know it's a throwaway comment, isn't it? If you watch how South Africa beat Scotland, who are one of the best teams in the world, just tighten up, big fella.
Scotland. What do you mean tighten up? If England tighten up and try and play the way South Africa play, we'll get hosed.
You laugh about England having to tighten up. Scotland at the weekend, I think, showed, we can get onto the Scotland game, where the only space in the South African defensive line, the only space is in the outside channel.
Exactly.
However you get there, through hook, through Cook, or through a bin bag being kicked off Finn Russell's boot, you need to get into that space. So, and I don't know. I've not seen any. We saw a bit of the Lions. We saw a bit of Scotland doing it. I suppose, having looked at the weekend, the only team that could do it is Ireland. Off the back of seeing how they played at the weekend, I just don't know. For me, Marcus Smith this weekend, it's not sink or swim, but if he can unlock South Africa, that is him. He's in. He is in there. If he can get that ball, and part of doing that, Andrew, and again, I'm stealing your thunder because this is your knowledge inside out. You've got to have the bollocks to do it, haven't you? You've got to have the bollocks to throw that ball, take it to the line, and there's a chance could be intercepting the life out of that ball because you've got to go for it. And we saw Finn do it with a couple of kicks, and people are booing and almost laughing a little bit at some of them. But that's my 2 pence worth on how England will try. I don't think they will try to beat South Africa. Yeah,
you've got to take the risk at times, as we saw. The Lions didn't take any risks until that third test, but also they're controlled risks. So, you know Mapimpi's coming. You know Jesse Creel will pop up on the other wing. The bottom line is England have got to prevent South Africa from getting driving lineouts, scrums. Because I think we're going to struggle at scrum time, and that's unless Marler can miraculously come out of isolation for 10 days on Friday, the day before the test, and be sprightly and ready to go. He probably will. He'll probably pick Marler and starting with Sinclair. But then, we didn't dominate at scrum time at the weekend, did we? And James Slipper was playing out of position at tight head. So you just think of the fundamentals of the South African game are line out drive, scrums, kicking game. You know, you need probably Malins on the wing to defuse the bombs alongside Freddie Ayre-Stewart. Johnny made the chicken running from all over the shop. But you need to do it in a controlled way, but finding those edges with, you know, phase plays with 2 lines of attack, they can be unpicked. You know, let's not forget Australia did them twice. So it's definitely a big thing around risk reward. It's definitely Marcus Smith has got the spuds to do it. Let me tell you, if there's anyone that's on the par with, you know, someone that can unlock a defence like that, there's 2 probably in the world that can do it, and that's Finn Russell and Marcus Smith at the minute. And I don't mean that lightly, because they're guys that have got that daring in them. And you actually need, you've got to have the confidence to look for it, find it, and then the ability to execute.
Well, unfortunately for Scotland, Finn Russell wasn't quite able to unlock South Africa as much as he would have liked. Jim, what do you make of their performance?
Well, it had nothing to do with Finn, and I didn't watch the game live because I was doing Italy-Argentina. So I watched it back, having known the result and looked on social media to see what the consensus was. And there was a lot of talk about Finn Russell not playing well, which wasn't the case. Like, he missed a few kicks at goal, as did the South Africans as well. I don't know whether it was windy in Scotland. It probably was.
Yeah, too many Five Guys.
Exactly. So he's probably, I was going to say shitting himself, but it probably was after eating the amount that he ate. Scrum, line out drive. That was it. Yeah. Scrum. That was it. I mean, we can put the line out in there and say line out drive. It was more line out aerially as opposed to the drive. Scrum got hosed. Now, you can have the best game plan in the world. You can have the best fly half in the world to unlock South Africa. If you get smashed at the scrum and you get smashed at the breakdown, you can't win a line out. You may as well go home. Like, South Africa didn't play that well. Yanchis, both 9 and 10, didn't play very well. Hurston, especially at 9, I thought was shocking. I'll say it there.
Etzebeth played well.
Etzebeth played very well. Absolute monster.
Tell the arms on him.
I mean, ridiculous. He got pinged as well for a turnover, and he was all over it. Etzebeth was the best player on the pitch. He was, and he's a mate. And he's a mate of mine now. We're mates.
Man of the match, though, wasn't he? Man of the match.
He was man of the match, and fully deserved as well. I think, again, just going back to Scotland, again, I tweeted it. It was a dogfight that we didn't win, and South Africa are full of mongrels. And we struggle as a team. We beat Australia the week before. We looked very comfortable, and South Africa made a shit fight of it, and we couldn't clean up the shit.